Hello and welcome to Singletrack magazine. My name is Benji and we're here to talk about this, the new Canyon Neuron. What sort of bike is the Canyon Neuron? Well, in a cheeky answer, it's a mountain bike. In a slightly more long-winded, specific answer, it's 140mm travel 29er trail bike. Like a do-it-all all-rounder. That's 29er for the medium, large and extra large sizes. When you get down to the small and extra small and the young kids versions of the Neuron that they call Young Hero, those come with 27.5-inch wheels. But for this, medium and the large, which we have here, and the extra large, it's 29 wheels all the way. What type of riding the Canyon Neuron is for is trail riding. It's a trail bike, and that's quite a hard remit to nail or describe. In many ways, it's just a normal, all-round mountain bike. Canyon describe it as a bike for the 99% of riders out there, so it's not specific to one niche or discipline. It's kind of the bike you would have if you could only have one mountain bike. Can you imagine the horrors? If you just want one mountain bike that can do everything from riding around on holiday, doing some big mountains, going to work on, anything really, this is the bike that Canyon have made for you. Those of you who can remember the dim, distant days of 2002 may remember a bike called the Canyon Nerve. Now, the Canyon Neuron is the descendant of that Canyon Nerve after all these years, and it stays true to the remit of the Nerve, which is a concentrate on the essentials, no frills, get everything important dialed trail bike. The bike we have here is the aluminium Neuron, the Neuron AL, the AL6 to be precise, in large. The Canyon Neuron continues with the aesthetic of that the Neurons have had, which is like a smooth, sleek, lightweight, capable, all-round trail bike. To explain where the Canyon Neuron sits amongst Canyon's other bounteous range of mountain bikes, below it, in terms of travel, is the Lux Trail, which is 120, 130mm cross-country marathon endurance race kind of bike. Then you've got the Canyon Spectral 125, which is their progressive downcountry bike for experienced riders who want to have less travel but still ride the same crazy stuff. To explain a bit more about what the Canyon Neuron is for as a trail bike, which kind of is a woolly term that can capture so many things, I'd probably explain it best that the Canyon Neuron is less about stopwatches and all-out speed and conquering insane technical features. There's a lot more comfort factored in to the whole thing. Whether that comes from lengthier geometry and a steeper seat angle for helping you get up the hills to a generally softer triple phase suspension at the back. It's a lot more of a comfy place to be for hours on end. Typically for Canyon, you're not short of options. Whether it's down to sizing, you've got 5 different frame sizes with this one, all the way extra small, small, medium, large, extra large. You've got 29s on the bigger ones and 27.5 on the slightly smaller ones. And you've got 11 different Neuron models in total. Some alloy, some carbon. If you check out Canyon's website, or the feature that we've done on our own website, there's a full breakdown of all the models on there with every SKU, as they call it, on there. Now, often when a bike is claimed to be new or all new, it's little more than a case of a different paint job and some BNG, bold new graphics, but the Canyon Neuron really is all new. The travel may be pretty much the same as it ever was, but other than that, everything about this bike has been touched by the hands of the tweakers, and it's all a bit different than the previous outgoing model. The down tube has been slimmed down quite a lot, which gives it that kind of elegant looking appearance. I like that. The geometry is the main thing that has changed and the most significant impact on how the Neuron's going to ride. The bikes have basically got a whole lot longer. On this large one we have here, the previous Neuron reach was 453mm. This new one is 480mm, which brings it up to date with what everyone else is up to, makes it more of a capable trail bike. The head angle's been knocked back 1.5 degrees, it's now 66. The seat angle's been brought forward 1.5 degrees, so it's now 76 degrees. And the seat tube has had, say, hacked off, not really, it's been shortened 20 mil. So where it used to be 480, it's now 460. That's a knock-on effect of having a bit more stand over here, and probably in a more real significant factor for most riders is you get a bigger dropper in there. And I think they come with, on the medium and large and extra large, it's like 170 mil, which this one has. I think the lowest they come with is 150 mil on the smaller ones. And you'll notice that it's quite a decent insert to about there. So you can even put certain massive ones in there if you wanted to, do your maths. So with a longer travel dropper, you're gonna get that saddle a lot more out of the way, and you'll be able to be a lot more confident and a lot more up for having a go at different trail features. And in terms of what the other geometry tweaks are gonna do for you, generally lengthening the bike makes it a lot more stable. Raking out the fork gives it a lot more confidence and just capability when you're going down steep stuff. And the seat angle at the back is just going to put you in a more efficient way for pedaling back up or even along. It's just a much better all-round balanced geometry on the new Canyon Neuron. Those of you familiar with Canyon's other bikes in their range, you'll be no surprise. It's a pleasant unsurprise that this comes with Canyon's triple phase concept with the suspension. That basically means they break down how the performance of the rear end works into 3 sections, really. There's a beginning, middle and end. So the beginning bit, when you just sat on the bike at sag point, it's really a lot more supple than the outgoing Neuron. And then the middle part is a bit more support in there, tell you what the bike's doing, a bit more feedback, so you know how your grip's doing generally, whether that's good for everywhere. Upwards, along, downhill, you just know what your bike's doing a bit more. And the last bit, the end bit of travel, ramps up so you're not banging through and having metal on metal bottom out. Onto the nuts and bolts, almost literally. You've got a wider main pivot here, and you've got an improved chunkiness to the horse link arrangement down there on the rear stays. The pivots at the back, the bearings used have more ball bearings in them than you would find on most bikes. So they've packed more ball bearings and they've double lip seals, and they've got a special, more stable, durable grease packed in those cartridge bearings as well. So what's all this new hardware and expensive bearings going to do? It's going to make the back end a lot stiffer than the previous Neuron that was already pretty good actually. And more importantly, from a living with the bike day to day, week in, week out sense, the bike's just going to last longer in between services and in between pivot changes and bearing changes. And during that lifespan, it's going to be a lot suppler, a lot less binding going on. It's just going to work better for longer. Up front, you've got a normal headset. There's no headset through routing on the aluminium version. You've got internal cabling going through the main down tube there. Threaded bottom bracket shell, hooray for people who like that sort of thing. And at the back, you've got a UDH gear hanger. So that's going to future-proof whatever happens to drivetrains over the next few years. Now then, some of you are going to be interested in carbon fiber, and they do, obviously, it's Canyon, they do a carbon fiber version of the Neuron called the Neuron CF compared to this Neuron AL. And the differences are, well, one's made of carbon, one's made of aluminium, but the geometry is the same, the triple phase is the same, a lot of the hardware is shared over all of them. Arguably, the main difference is you've got cable routing that's internal and fully sleeved the whole way, which is nice. You've got a straighter seat tube, so you can put an even longer dropper seat post in the carbon ones if this one isn't quite big enough for you. And on the carbon Neuron, the Neuron CF, comes with a bolt-on chain guide as well. And I think you get a down tube protector built into it. The other difference between the carbon and aluminium one is a bit of weight difference. The carbon one is a claimed 2,440 grams, that's for the medium. And that compares to the aluminium, which is 3,100 grams for the medium. There we have it, that's the new Canyon Neuron. If you go to Singletrack World website, there's a full breakdown of all the Canyon Neuron on there already with all the different models and prices and everything you need to know and availability. And this one here, this exact one, is just about to be taken down from this stand and ridden outside over there, with a review coming quite soon. That's all from me for today, and I will see you next time. Cheers! So generally, they've stiffened up the back end and improved the bearings in there. And what's that going to do? As well as making the bike last a lot longer in between services and bearing changes, it's just going to stay more supple for more longer. More longer. Bigly. Bigly durable.